From the pristine waters of the Sapphire Coast to the snow-capped peaks of Mount Kosciuszko, the regions of southern New South Wales and the Australian Capital Territory are unlike anywhere else in Australia.
0.01% of Australia is alpine, so it's an extremely unique environment.
It's an area teeming with life, a sanctuary for plants and animals alike.
To be able to see these animals being brought back from the brink of extinction definitely fills you with hope for the future.
It's a playground for thrill seekers, providing endless opportunities to explore the region's rugged beauty.
The people that come to us now are just elated that they can actually get out and experience something unique. And it's great to be able to feel their appreciation genuinely.
Steeped in Indigenous history, the cultural significance of this land endures.
We want to share our culture, our knowledge, from the plants to the food, to the water, to life itself.
Get ready to experience Australia. Located between Sydney and Melbourne, you'll find one of Australia's most iconic mountain ranges, the majestic Snowy Mountains. Renowned for its stunning alpine landscapes, the Snowy Mountains are an integral part of the Great Dividing Range, stretching across the borders of New South Wales and Victoria.
Out here we've got the highest peaks in Australia. 0.01% of Australia is alpine, so it's an extremely unique environment.
Lewis Foster is an alpine snow guide for K7 Adventures. He leads backcountry snowshoe tours through some of the most secluded areas of the Snowy Mountains.
A lot of people are surprised when they hear that there's snow in Australia. Certainly not the first image that you would choose. And it just means that these snowy mountains up here, they're so unique. They're these rolling hills with beautiful rocks and wide open vistas.
The Snowy Mountains is also home to the highest peak in Australia, Mount Kosciuszko, standing proudly at over 2,200 metres above sea level.
It's really an unforgettable experience to come up here and trek in the snow in Australia.
Before the first settlers ventured into the Snowy Mountains, this land was home to ancient cultures whose history spans tens of thousands of years. For the Indigenous people of the region, the mountains were more than just a backdrop. They were a sacred realm teeming with stories, traditions, and spiritual importance.
This is very special land. K7 Adventures helps others understand how this land was traditionally used by the First Nations people and how we as modern Australians can preserve it into the future to protect the endemic species that are still here and to ensure that the land keeps thriving the way that it naturally should.
For Lewis and K7 Adventures, being able to share the breathtaking beauty of the Snowy Mountains is a privilege.
A lot of the time people we bring up here, they haven't even seen snow before. And that's why I love taking snowshoe tours, because it's just taking individuals out into a terrain that they are not at all familiar with. And it just blows their mind. They're on, like 11 out of 10 happiness. And myself, I grew up here, I'm used to it, but that happiness just makes me so happy. And yeah, it's part of the reason why I keep coming back and doing my job every winter.
Closer to ground level, and just a 20-minute drive away, comes an experience that harkens back to Australia's rich agrarian past. Horses have played an important role in Australia's history since their introduction by European settlers in the late 18th century. As Australia's population grew and settlements expanded, horses became indispensable for various tasks such as mustering livestock, transportation of goods, and travelling across vast distances. The romantic image of the horse-riding stockman and the iconic landscape of the Snowy Mountains was immortalised by poet Banjo Paterson in his most famous poem, The Man from Snowy River.
When you come out here for a ride, you can ride through some genuine country that is associated with the legend of the man from Snow River. It's something that's very unique to us and something we're very proud of.
Nev Barris is the co-owner of Thredbo Valley Horse Riding with his wife Linda. They provide horse riding experiences for people of all ages and levels of experience.
We're one of the only places in Australia that you can actually ride a horse in the snow. It's something you can't experience anywhere else. And to be able to show people that and feel their appreciation genuinely is a really nice feeling. Thredbo Valley Horse Riding is very, very fortunate to be able to look after 76 horses. Their breeds range everything from a quarter horse to a stock horse to a thoroughbred cross, and the ones that we're most proud of are our Brumbies.
Australian Brumbies are descended from escaped horses brought to Australia by European settlers. These majestic animals have adapted to the harsh Australian wilderness over generations.
We have a lot of Brumbies within our herd, and to be able to have somebody experience riding a Brumbie in the snowy mountains is something that is not available anywhere else.
From the time of the early settlers till today, the legacy of horse riding continues to inspire the next generation.
Keeping that history alive is so important. To be able to give the opportunity for younger generations to experience that is something that we hold dear. I still get a smile on my face every time I drive into work in the morning. And I still have this elation, I still have this joy of actually being out in the bush and given the opportunity to show people around and escort them around and show them something they don't see in their everyday life.
Four hours drive south of Sydney, near Australia's capital of Canberra, you'll find the Eurobodalla region. Eurobodalla comes from the Yuin word for land of many waters, and it's easy to see why. With its vast coastline and extensive river system, the best way to explore the Eurobodalla is by water.
The beauty of kayaking is that you're able to access the inaccessible in a way that's not going to harm the environment.
Amy Starling is a tour guide and operations coordinator for Region X, an eco-tourism company specialising in nature-based activities.
I found this area when I was on a holiday and absolutely fell in love, and I never went home. Our experiences allow people to see parts of the national parks and the waterways that they would never usually see. We have multi-day kayak expeditions, we run multi-day bushwalking tours, and we have shorter tours as well that just explore the local rivers and the coastline. Kayaking brings me a lot of joy. It's physical, you're immersed in nature, it's silent, so you've got that tranquil sound of just the water passing you by. It's very meditative. The very act of kayaking makes you tune into the natural world around you. It's extraordinary, and it's the quintessential Australian experience.
The Eurobodalla is also renowned for its thriving oyster industry, making it a prime destination for seafood lovers looking to sample fresh, locally harvested oysters.
The oyster tasting kayak tour is a 2-hour experience on the beautiful Clyde River. We get to meet a 4th-generation oyster farmer who's an absolute wealth of knowledge. Guests are given in-depth insight into the fascinating oyster industry and the varieties of oysters that grow here in the pristine waters of the Clyde. It's known worldwide for its clean water, and the flavour of the oyster speaks volumes.
When fresh water from a river like the Clyde mixes with salt water from the ocean, the salinity levels provide an optimal environment for the growth of oysters. Other important factors include water quality, temperature, and nutrient-rich water.
Guests will get to sample the different varieties of oysters that grow in the Clyde River, the Pacific and the Sydney Rock, and they'll get to taste a freshly shucked one straight out of the water, which is a really special experience. After the guests meet the oyster farmers, we'll get to paddle through the leases and explore how they're actually farmed. We may even get to witness them being harvested, and we get up really nice, close and personal to see how it all happens. Guests wrap up their tour back in Bateman's Bay with that real sense of achievement and a whole new respect for the sustainable industry of oyster farming.
Oyster farming is a key industry all along the south coast of New South Wales, and just 2 hours south in Pambula, there's a farmer whose passion for Sydney rock oysters is unsurpassed.
My name's Brett Weingarth, aka Captain Sponge. I, with a good mate of mine, run Captain Sponge's Magical Oyster Tours on the far south coast of New South Wales, a place called Pambula Lake.
I think that's an interesting thing.
This one piece will make 52 layers.
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen. All for free. No subscription required.
We grow one main oyster on the New South Wales coast, I'd have to say, and that is the endemic or native Sydney rock oyster. Each estuary on the coast provides a slightly different tasting oyster, and that's all due to the different characteristics of the different estuaries, how much fresh water flows in, the substrate. All these different factors play into the taste of the oyster. But when you get a Sydney rock oyster in its prime, there is nothing better. They've got a lingering creaminess to them that stays on the palate for a long time, and it's just an experience unlike any other, I would say. What we do is we load people up, we take them out onto the lake, we take them and show them how we farm oysters, how we catch them, how we shape them, and how we grow them right through to the end product where you see them on your restaurant plate.
But oysters are so much more than just a luxury menu item. They are the guardians of coastal ecosystems, playing a vital role in maintaining biodiversity and supporting the health of marine environments.
Oysters are filter feeders, so they filter the water and get the algae out of it, and they transport that down to their mouth where they eat it. So obviously if there's any pollutants or whatever, the oysters are going to be some of the first creatures to feel that. Fortunately for us down here, we don't have a lot of people, we don't have a lot of industry and agriculture in our catchments, so our water is really clean. Where you see more people, there's more of this kind of ambient pollution level which can create issues for the oyster, and the oysters tend to feel that first. And they normally feel it by dying, unfortunately. So you can tell if something's going wrong in the water because there'll be something not quite right with the oyster. Most people get the natural beauty of the area, but really they love knowing how that food is produced and meeting the farmers that actually produce it. So they get to learn from go to woe of how exactly that oyster is actually produced.
Three hours drive southwest of Sydney, we come to the coastal town of Narooma, famous for its beautiful beaches and relaxed atmosphere.
We've got such a beautiful coastline. We've got such untouched beaches. We've got various different wildlife that you just never know what you're going to see on a daily basis. My name's Nick from Narooma Charters. We do the boating operating out of Narooma, doing island tours, whale watching and a few scenic tours as well.
One of the highlights of Narooma is visiting Montague Island. Montague Island is a protected nature reserve. It's known for its historic lighthouse, built in 1881, and offers panoramic views of the surrounding ocean and coastline. The island is a haven for marine life, but is most famous for a thriving colony of Australian fur seals. Visitors have the unique opportunity to see these charismatic creatures up close while snorkelling along the island's shore.
So Narooma Charters originally started about 30 odd years ago. There was a big call around then for mainly the diving and snorkelling with the seals. And then about the mid-90s is when Montague Island actually got rezoned into New South Wales waters. And Narooma Charters was the first operator to do island tours out to Montague Island.
The island is deeply important to the Indigenous people of the Yuin Nation, whose ancestral ties to this remote sanctuary date back thousands of years. Known as Baranguba in the traditional language, the island served as a sacred site for ceremonies, storytelling, and connection to land and sea.
Montague Island's special with the amount of wildlife we do have. And we also have virtually what's like a whale highway.
From September to November, humpback whales can be spotted on their migration south towards Antarctica. These majestic marine animals are drawn to the nutrient-rich waters surrounding the island, where they feast on abundant krill and small fish to replenish their energy reserves.
So the thing people love most, just how pristine and how beautiful the island is, and also the waters out and around this area, and the diversity of the sea creatures and animal life that they do get to see. The thing that probably surprises guests the most, it's the unknown. You never know what you're going to get, whether it be whales, seals, dolphins. It's just one of those beautiful places and such rich waters around here. You just never ever know what you're going to see.
Nestled in the southeastern corner of New South Wales is the Australian Capital Territory, home to Australia's capital city of Canberra. Canberra is surrounded by bushland, nature reserves and parks for locals and visitors to enjoy.
My name's Andrew O'Meara and I am the Outreach Education Coordinator for Mulligan's Flat Woodland Sanctuary.
Mulligan's Flat Woodland Sanctuary is a protected nature reserve located north of Canberra's CBD. Covering an area of around 480 hectares, the sanctuary is dedicated to the conservation of native woodland ecosystems.
We do reintroductions out here for critically endangered animals. The eastern bettong has been locally extinct for over 120 years. The same deal goes for our eastern quoll. That's been gone since the 1970s on mainland Australia. And the bushstone curlew, they were last heard calling in the ACT in around 1962.
The sanctuary allows visitors to explore picturesque bushland while learning about the history of the site and ongoing conservation programs from an education officer.
So Mulligan's Flat was actually turned into a sanctuary back in 1995. Quite a few environmental groups got together and they saw the significance of this area, particularly the significance of large old-growth trees out here. If you have a look around, you'll see Eucalyptus blakeleyi and Eucalyptus meliodora, which are Blakely's red gums and yellow box. And when they get really old, about 150 years old, they form amazing hollows for animals. Now, around 30% of Australian mammals require hollows, and around 15% of Australian birds require hollows just to live. So areas like this, as they get reduced, as they get cleared, there goes all of our habitat for our animals. So it's really critically important that we keep areas like this safe. People are going to learn on these tours that it's really hard to keep these animals safe on mainland Australia. They've got a lot of invasive predators like foxes and cats, and knowing just how hard it is to keep them away from our native animals, people are going to be really, really surprised.
The 11-kilometre fence constructed at Mulligan's Flat Woodland Sanctuary serves as a vital barrier to help protect the resident wildlife from threats.
Putting up the predator-proof fence has really allowed us to turn back the clock here and try to create pre-European colonisation bushland, which I think is really important. I love being able to come out here and just get connected to nature. I like being able to see these animals that have been lost from the landscape and really get my hands dirty working with them. Whether it's tracking snakes or re-releasing critically endangered animals, there's no better feeling than coming out of the sanctuary.
Canberra also has a rich Indigenous history that endures to this day.
Yan Yeramburu, Nanadara, Yamalandi. Hello and good morning from Ngunnawal country and welcome. My name is Richie Allen. I'm a Ngunnawal knowledge holder and I run Ngunnawal cultural tours around the Canberra region.
The Ngunnawal people are the traditional custodians of the Canberra region, with a rich cultural heritage spanning thousands of years.
How did I start the experiences? Obviously, it's been passed down for a long time. I got my knowledge from my mum, who got it from Uncle Brucey, and each generation it gets passed down to somebody who has to be the next book.
The Ngunnawal people are dedicated to preserving and passing down their traditional knowledge and practices to future generations. These practices serve as expressions of their connection to the land and their ancestors.
The tours are for everybody. That doesn't matter what background you have or where you come from. We want to share Ngunnawal culture with everyone. They'll see the land, the water, and everything that the Ngunnawal people see. And that you immerse yourself in Ngunnawal culture here, from the plants to the food to the water to life itself. They'll get to see it all through the Ngunnawal eyes.
Animal sightings during the tour are common, and many of the native wildlife hold great importance in the stories and traditions of the Ngunnawal people.
Fortunately, when Europeans come here, like I said, they killed off a lot of the animals, so the bettongs, they had to be reintroduced.
The eastern bettong once flourished across southeastern Australia. However, by the 1920s, the eastern bettong was considered to be extinct on the Australian mainland due to habitat loss and feral predators such as foxes and cats.
The Ngunnawal people actually domesticated, so like we have cats and dogs today, the Ngunnawal people had bettongs like that. And the reason they domesticated them is because they got good claws for digging, but also their noses are a great sense of smell to get the yam daisies, the truffles, whatever bulbies, like I said, the chocolate lily bulbs that are in the ground. That's what they're good for.
In 2012, a landmark discovery was made when a small population of eastern bettong were discovered in the ACT.
We're lucky in Canberra that we're not overly populated as yet, but we need to keep it like this so that way, the people, the plants, the animals, everything is immersed together. Because once it's gone, it's gone. We want to share our culture, our knowledge like that. And it's a true reflection upon who the people we are. That's our culture. We don't own the land, we belong to it. And we want to share that and get people to understand that dirt means more than dirt. Grass means more than grass. A tree, like that, it's a living person. Like that, it's more than just a tree. It gives so much beauty and so much of it. And we want people to understand that and look at it from Ngunnawal eyes, not Western eyes.
To experience southern New South Wales and the Australian Capital Territory is to engage with all the senses, from the pristine coastline teeming with life to the snowy mountains calling for adventure. Come and experience it for yourself.